Hello friends, this is from Sukhmani Immigration Services, Brampton, Canada. I'm a regulated and licensed Canadian immigration consultant. Today's video is very special because I am going to talk about a very important aspect which is like everyone's concern. What is that? I'll share with you. Before that, I request you, if you have not subscribed to the channel so far, please consider subscribing. We talk a lot about Canadian immigration news, update, tips and tricks on this channel. And if you like the video, share it with your family and friends so that they can also benefit. So without further delay, let's get started. Today's video is very important. So I request you, if you watch it till the end, it will be very beneficial for you. This video is about 10 reasons for high processing time. Why your file is taking so long? 10 reasons. And these are the reasons which are according to my knowledge, right? Before I tell you the reasons, it is very important to understand what is processing time. So processing time is basically the time that tells you how long you expect IRCC to process your application under normal circumstances. The word is normal circumstances. So remember that, normal circumstances. When does my processing time start? So this is also very important, when it starts and when it ends. So your processing time, suppose you are making an application, you are collecting the document, your processing time do not start that way. It depends what type of application you are submitting, whether it is a paper application or online. So paper application, you submit it, starts from the time the IRCC receives the application, receive date, right? That is the time they start the application. And the online application starts when you hit the submit button. So it ends, the processing time ends with when a decision is made on your file. So this is the processing time start and end time, right? And mail, as I said, it could be by mail and it could be by online. So these two options. And now let us look at the important thing, which is processing times are calculated. So how IRCC calculates the processing time? It calculates the time by 80% of the cases, like how much time 80% of the cases take in that particular category. And based on that data, it takes the processing time. It is not particularly for your case. Maybe your case takes less time, maybe more time, but it takes overall pool and then takes, 80% of the cases are processed in that time. So 80-20, the Pareto principle, the Pareto rule is applied over there. So how can I check the processing time? Very common question. So I will share the link in the description box. Government has a site. You can go on that link and you can check the processing time. So this will look something like this. So this is how you can check your processing time. And you can go application by application, whichever application, it could be different for study, it could be different for express entry, PNP, for TRV. So it depends, right? What type of application it is, which location it is, and accordingly the processing time is there. Now that you know what is processing time, how it is calculated, and when it starts, when it ends. Now let us look at the reasons for high processing time. So the first reason, of course, is the type of the application. So each application is not treated the same way it should be, right? Some applications could be on a priority. Some type of applications are on a higher priority. Some are on the lower priority. Some applications may take long time, whereas the results are given very quickly. So number of candidates also in that particular category do impact the processing time. And if the particular program receives huge amount of applications, then of course it is going to take a longer time. Sometimes even government closes the programs. Like for example, I told in my earlier video, the child care one, the caregiver program. So usually like caregiver program is usually flooded, parents and grandparents program. It's always flooded. So that is why it closes so soon, right? So it depends how many applications also government receives, and that also impacts the processing time. Now, second and very, very important thing is completeness of your application. How thorough is your application? It depends, if your application is thorough, complete, not only you are going to get positive results, but also it will be processed in a small amount of processing time. So, you can take an example like, if a teacher is checking the papers and she get a paper which is nicely written, very well organized, not only the candidate is going to get good marks, but also she will be able to check in a small amount of time. In comparison, if the examiner gets a paper which is poorly written, bad handwriting, right, unorganized, so one, of course, the result will be poor, number one, and teacher will take long time to check, so increased processing time. So all these things contribute to increased processing time, missing information or documents, incomplete information, ambiguous information, and of course poor presentation of your file. If application is incomplete, most of the time IRCC refuses, but there are always good officers which sometimes ask for more information. So when they ask for more information, of course it's going to take more time, increased processing time, right? So this is number 2. Number 3 is Canadian immigration policies. So Canadian immigration policies are governed by rules and policies, and the government, it differs from government to government, which changes frequently. So these policies are also constantly changed. They are not static. New programs come, pilot programs come, they go, right? So previous programs are phased out, and many programs are, they are just simply converted from pilot to main programs. Like we already have like Atlantic BC Tech pilot program. It is converted from pilot to program. Atlantic, it was converted from a pilot to program. So like this, pilot programs also get converted to. So there is quota, which is for each program. There is a quota, there is a higher limit, there is a lower limit, right? So there are annual targets under each immigration program. These targets are further communicated to the visa offices also worldwide, and accordingly they distribute the visas. So if the quota is small in that particular program, the chances of getting the positive result are low, as well as increased processing time. So number 3, and now moving on to number 4, which is change in your application. This is very, very important. Please listen carefully. So why this is important, right? You make any kind of changes in your application post you applied, it is definitely going to contribute to increased processing time. So that means you should not tell the changes. No, it is rather mandatory to inform IRCC of any changes which happen post you applied. These changes could be like a birth of a child, or death, or maybe marriage, or maybe a divorce, or maybe adoption cases, or address change in job, right? All these things are important and needs to be communicated to the IRCC. If you do not do that thing, it is mandatory, as I already told you. So if you do not do this activity, it will be a misrepresentation. But yes, doing will of course increase the processing time for sure. So now let us look at the point number 5, which is visa offices. So Canada has visa offices worldwide, and each visa offices has its own challenges, right? They are not the same. So staff wise, location wise, amount of application they receive, they are different, right? So the processing time is also dependent upon the country where you are submitting the application. Although IRCC moves now, right, they are moving the files between the locations also, so as to shorten the time, but still, it is dependent. Like the processing time for submitting an application in India and Europe cannot be same, right? So processing time is also dependent upon where the application is submitted. Application may not be processed at the office closest to you or where you have submitted. It could be moved, as I said, right? That also makes the difference in the processing time. Visa officers, immigration officers. So let me tell you one important thing. Visa officers, immigration officers are given thorough training, and they are very well trained and clearly have the expertise in their field. They are trained to be objective, not subjective. They follow a certain checklist and they go by that. So meaning of that is, if two officers are analyzing the file, they will reach at the same decision. Well, most of the cases this happens, right? But ultimately, visa officer is also a human being, and they also have a power of discretion. So that also contribute to increase processing time. And they follow, of course, visa officers follow standard of procedural fairness. They go by, as I said, they go by the objective and objectively analyzing your application rather than subjectively doing it. So they reach at the one conclusion. But again, as I said, each human being is different, its approach is different. Some definitely take more time to review our application and some do it very quickly. So let us take an example, right? For example, see teachers which check the papers. If two teachers are checking the paper, the speed may not be same. The result also may not be same. The candidate, same candidate submitting the same paper to two different teachers may not get the same marks. And the teacher may not be able to check in the same time. So again, visa officer also can contribute to high processing time. And now external factors. So external factors are very important because before COVID, it was not that important. But after COVID, things have really changed. So COVID has kind of shaken the world. So is immigration also got impacted because of this. Now, not just COVID. Many countries are facing war, and they have impact on the processing time here in Canada also. For example, right, the war in Afghanistan, Syria, or it may be a recent Russia versus Ukraine war. So Canada came up with new programs, right, which is excellent, right, coming up with new programs, helping people, but it impacts the processing time of other areas too. So natural calamities, any kind of disasters, earthquakes in particular area or particular country, so that sometimes government on the humanitarian grounds do help people, and it could impact the processing time of other lines too. Now, special programs are also designed for some particular country, and that also impacts the processing time. Other countries, so this is also very important. Sometimes, people who want to come out of a particular home country, they see, okay, there is no option available in Australia, no option available in UK, no option available, of course, in US. Okay, so where is the option? Okay, option is in Canada. Okay, so if option is in Canada, so he is targeting Canada, he is also targeting Canada. So that way, increase in the processing time also. So job vacancies, if there are higher vacancies in Canada, that is also going to impact the processing time. And requirements of a special skill. So this has recently happened. So Canada definitely needs higher amount of technology people, IT people. So that is why, you see at the federal level, at the provincial level, PNP, there are IT programs. Canada needs doctors, nurses, truck drivers. So there are programs which are specific to a particular skill. And that is why the processing time for these reduce. So processing time gets impacted by all these external factors, even the requirement of a special skill, as I said. Number 8, applicant. Applicant is you. you are also going to impact the processing time. How? Because sometimes applicants do not submit the information which IRCC asks. They just keep sitting on it, and delay in submitting an application, or delay in providing the documents, or delay in getting the medical done, delay in getting the PCC or biometrics done can impact your processing time. So definitely your processing time will get impacted because of this. Number 9, lack of technology and funds. These days, everything is driven by technology. Everything, right? So we are driving better technology cars, we have better gadgets, we want to save time. And so is the case with IRCC. So IRCC are gone with those old days when IRCC was submitting the paper application. Now IRCC is trying to digitalize, right? Online applications, faster processing time. They are also doing advanced data analytics. So based on the data, right, they can quickly take up the results. That advanced data analytics and also the automation or the automatic system helps to quickly get the results. Although the final say or final decision is of the visa officer, IRCC officer, but these things do contribute in helping the officer and expediting the time. And of course, the digital one, online application system, I have already mentioned. The focus, the funds, right? Money makes the mayor go. The money is the driving force. And that driving force, if the government puts the funds into it, the chances are you will have better and more resources to do the faster processing. And IRCC has recently hired 500 new processing staff. So all these things, like this thing will decrease the processing time. If the staff is not there, it will increase the processing time. So now lastly, this is point number 10. And lastly, it is false immigration consultant. Now you will say, how can a false immigration consultant impact a processing time? Let us see. So what happens is, false immigration the immigration consultant contribute to increase processing time. How? The first thing, lack of experience. They don't know what to do in a particular situation, right? So the same thing, if somebody is a seasoned player, he can do faster. Second, and this is very common, you say, okay, you have paid the fees to the false immigration consultant, right? You come back home happy, oh, my case is done. Have you ever checked he has applied for you or not? Has he submitted your file or not? Most of the time you submit the money and come back home, enjoy, drink, marry, and then forget. But actually, that false immigration consultant has not even submitted your file. So of course, you will get higher processing time. Maybe after 1 year, he recalls, oh, I have to submit a file. Then he submits a file. So your processing time will start after 1 year. So not paying the right fee. He doesn't know what to pay, right? So he can randomly select to pay some money to the IRCC, which may be right or wrong. And if it is wrong, it is refused and increased processing time. So not sending the update, he doesn't know what update to send, and then result is increased processing time. Misrepresentation, many times, not just the candidate or the applicant, even the false immigration consultants commit misrepresentation on your behalf, and that could lead to increased processing time and refusal of your case. Misguidance, very common. They don't know which program to guide you. They guide you to a wrong program, which will take ages. They will not tell you the options. So, high processing time. Not ordering GCMS notes. Some even don't know what GCMS notes is. Not just ordering, analyzing. After you get the notes, GCMS notes is a global case management system that, when an officer checks, they puts the note into the system. Those notes you have under the AITP, you have access to Private Information and Privacy Act. You have that you can legally ask for that information. So not just getting those notes, analyzing the notes. and then making your strategy. They don't know what to do, right? Don't know how to order GCMS notes. Forget about analyzing, right? And of course, you can submit web forms also, but they don't know how to submit the web forms, and the result is increased processing time. So all these things, the 10 points which I have shared with you, there could be many more, but this is as per my knowledge, right? So I shared with you those 10 points which can lead to increased processing time. If you want to know anything or any details about any Canadian immigration visa or immigration program, you can reach out to our office. Our office is located in Brampton, and email ID and phone numbers are shared here with you. Once again, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. And thank you very much for watching the video. Thanks so much.